Hi guys, I am here to kind of help you and clarify some problem solving strategies. And so today, and my hope with this channel is for you to help to become more confident in your problem solving abilities with math. And so today we're going to talk about the strategy UPS check. To become great problem solvers, you have to really analyze your problem. These people come up with these problems and you have to figure out, what are they asking you? So some of the questions that we ask ourselves as problem solving is, what information do we know? What is given? Is there any information that we don't need? Because sometimes they try to trick you. They do. They try to trick you, and they really want to see if you're really paying attention. So sometimes they give us some information we don't need, but you guys are great problem solvers. So you can say, we don't need that information. The other question we want to ask ourselves is, what is the question asking us? What information do we have to find out? And so I'm going to walk through that piece for you in just a minute. Our next part of the UPS check is our plan. Our P stands for plan. We have to come up and formulate a plan. So that means we need to ask ourselves, well, what operation do we need to use to solve this problem? Are we going to use addition? Are we going to use subtraction? What information do we, what words, maybe what things might help us figure out the plan that we have? And also, something we need to ask ourselves is, what steps do we need to take to get there? So sometimes it's one step, sometimes it's more than one step. So we have to ask ourselves, how am I going to get there? So I have a path. I have a mathematical path. Here's one point. I have a solving piece over here. What steps do I need to take to get there? And so then we move, once we've formulated our plan, then we move on to the solve. We solve our problem using any strategy. And I know for me in my class that we've definitely talked about strip diagrams. We've talked about number lines. We've talked about drawing a picture. Now, remember, we don't have to be artistic in math. It's just a quick picture. And utilizing base 10 blocks. Use any strategy that you feel best fits you. And then for our check, we have to justify our answer. Justifying is explaining our answer so that in our own words. How do we know our answer is correct? Justify it. Sometimes your teacher might ask you to write it in words. Sometimes your teacher might just say, hey, think about your justification. How do you know your answer is correct? So as mathematicians, even if your teacher doesn't ask you that, you have to be thinking that, how do I know my answer is correct? And then you might use another strategy to check your work, to check that answer. Maybe if you were subtracting, you'd add. If you were adding, you'd subtract. So now we're going to kind of work through this strategy using a problem. And I'm going to show you just some quick ways to kind of work through this. I am not anticipating you writing this for every single problem. Sometimes you can. It might help you think through some things, but it might just be easier just to kind of touch the boxes, even if you just have it written out where you touch the boxes and kind of talk through it, just like you've learned in writing. Maybe you talk through some certain strategies on, how your story might go. Well, this is kind of like a math story. You have to figure out and touch the boxes. So the first step is understand. So I'm going to ask myself, what do I know? So let's read the question. The question says, Miss Casey had 750 party favors. She purchased some of the party favors on Monday. She purchased 234 party favors on Tuesday. How many party favors did Miss Casey purchase on Monday? So let me ask myself, what do we know? Well, I know that she had 750 party favors total. Can't have more than that. Nope, done. Can't have more than 750 party favors. That's like my big old stop sign. Can't have more, can't have less. I also know that she purchased 234 party favors on Tuesday. So I also know, with that being said, that there's 2 days. One day they give us the information, the other day is the unknown. We don't know. The question is asking us to figure out what that unknown is. We got this. So let's go back through our understanding, our analyzing it. So what do we know? We know she has 750 party favors. We know that there was 2 days that party favors were bought, and we know that there was 234 party favors bought on day 2 or Tuesday, right? Now, I want to ask us, is there any information we don't need? In this question, there actually isn't. We need all the information there. And then the third question, the analyzing piece that I'm asking, is what is the question asking us? Well, the question's asking us to figure out that unknown. We've got to figure out that unknown. So now let's create a plan. This is where I might need to jot down some information, some thinking. I got to think about it. The best way I know how to think about it is to put it in equation form. Sometimes it's just easier to visualize an equation. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in equation form. So I know we have 750 total party favors. That's my equal. I also know that on Monday she bought some. And on Tuesday, she bought 234. Well, if I combine Monday and Tuesday together, I'm going to get my 750. So I've represented it with my plan as 750 is equal to question mark, because that's my unknown, plus 234. So I've got to figure out this unknown. That's my plan. Well, I know the opposite of addition is subtraction. So if I take this big number and subtract this small number, I could find my answer here. So I'm going to do that on my solve. I'm going to use a number line. A number line is a great strategy to solve any type of problem. So I'm going to draw my number line, my open number line, just like this, just like it. Now I have to make sure that I write neat so I don't lose track of my thinking. My stopping point is 750. I can't go any further than that. We've already talked about that. So I'm going to write 750 at the very end of my number line. At the beginning of my number line, I'm going to use my starting point, the known part. So my known part is 234. So I know we get 234. Well, I want to add and make some easy tens here. So I'm going to add 6 to this because I know that if I add 234 plus 6, I'm going to get an easy 10. The next 10 is 40. So I'm going to add 6. I'm going to do a little teeny tiny jump, add 6 to that, and then I'm going to write 240 down here. So I'm just going to add that little plus 6. Hey, well, I'm almost to that 50 mark, so I'm going to add 10 more, because that will get me to 250. I'm already at 250. I got to get to 750. So if I know 250 plus 500, oh my goodness, because 2 plus 5 is 7, so I know that 200 plus 500 is 700. So if I'm at 250 and I add 500, I'm going to get to 750. So I'm going to do one big jump of 500. Oh my goodness. So now I've got to compose my jumps. My jumps, I'm going to erase this line and make it a little bit bigger. So I start with 500 plus, I have that 10, don't I? 10 plus 6. Well, I know that 500 plus 10 plus 6 is 516. Oh my goodness, I have a solution. So the first thing, we had to analyze our problem. We had to figure out, what is it asking us? We formulated a plan. We solved it using a strategy. Now we got to justify and check it. Sometimes a justification is just another strategy to prove your answer. Justifying it doesn't mean to always put it in words. Justifying it means to check it with a different solution. So let's think about this. So what other strategy? I might use, so I used a number line here. I might use an equation. I'm just going to use it. So I know up here I need to count up to two. I counted up to 750. Well, here I'm going to take my solution that I got down here and I'm going to add it because that was my unknown. I'm going to add it to 234 to see if I get 750 because remember the opposite of addition is subtraction. We can always check addition with subtraction and subtraction with addition. Excuse me. So I'm going to add 516 plus 234. That's going to be my equation. I've got to figure out if this is correct. So I'm going to take and decompose these numbers into place values. So I know that 516 is decomposed into 10 and 6. 234 is decomposed into 230 and 4, just like that. Then I'm going to add the place values. So 500 plus 200 is 700. 10 plus 30 is 40. And then 6 plus 4, I'm getting ahead of myself, is 10. So then, just like I did with my jumps, I have to compose my solution. Well, I know that 700 plus 40 is 740. 740 plus 10 is 750. So there, we justified our solution here. Guys, the next thing is you're not done. You got to think, is my answer reasonable? Reasonable means doesn't make sense. Make sure you always think about, does it make sense? In this case, it makes sense. So I want you to think about this, maybe using this strategy to help you with your problem solving. So maybe you use it at home and when you're doing homework or in any other on a test. But I want you to make sure that you always analyze. Analyzing the problem is going to be the most important piece of problem solving, because if you don't understand what's happening, you're not going to know how to solve it. So you got to talk through it. Ask yourself those 3 questions. What do you know? Is there information I don't have to know? And then what is the question asking me? Guys, I hope to see you again. I'm going to hopefully start this every week. So if you please, questions, comments, go ahead and comment below. Have a great day. I hope you learned something new. So have a wonderful day.